For any of you that are thinking about going off and starting your own business, you need to understand that while the Rocky cutscene only lasts for 60 seconds in the movies, it's 2, 3, 5 years of pushing yourself and stretching, pushing you to your absolute limit. But once you get there, it will be worth it. How is it going, ladies and gentlemen? This is Sean Barnes. I want to welcome you back to The Way of the Wolf. Just yesterday, I had the opportunity to sit down with a mentor of mine for almost 3 hours. I had so many lessons that I took away in processing, and I woke up this morning just absolutely on fire and decided that I needed to record a dedicated show to share the things that we talked about and some of the lessons that I learned. So I'm going to dive right in on this topic. The very first thing that I want to talk about is how important it is that when you have mentors and people in your life that mean a lot to you, that you reach out to them more than when you just need something from them. Now, to elaborate, as he and I were talking, we obviously had some mutual connections in our network. And the topic of discussion really kind of stemmed from, oh, have you heard from such and such? Yeah. Haven't spoken to him in almost a decade, and he calls me up looking for a job. And I just kind of put my head down and thought, oh, cool. So after a decade, then you reach out when you need something. If you have people in your life that have helped you ascend and helped you achieve great things, check on them, reach out, provide value. Don't just pick up the phone 10 years later and say, hey, I need this. It puts a bit of a sour taste in their mouth. It's like, oh, so I'm not good enough to have any sort of interactions with unless you need something from me. So think through the people that you have had in your life that have had a positive impact on you and your life, and just shoot them a quick text. Hey, hope you're doing well. Or, hey, I saw this post, thought of you, wishing you the best. Anything I can do to support you. Start thinking about how do I give more than just asking from them. The next thing I want to touch on is the fact that people are always watching. I talk a lot about building our personal brand and how important it is to be consistent over time because everybody is watching. They might not care. They might not always be focused on you and what you are doing, but they are always watching. And when you deliver time and time and time again, week after week, month after month, year after year, you start building a brand and reputation for yourself for being dedicated and consistent. And we got on this topic because we were talking about just dropping my 200th episode and doing this show for 4 years. And he admitted, look, I don't listen to all your shows, but I do catch them occasionally. If I'm on a long trip to visit one of our customers, I'll fire up, listen to some of your stuff. And he said, it's been impressive to see the growth in you over all of these years. What's even more impressive is that you've stayed consistent with it. Because producing a show is not easy. It is not cheap. It takes time and energy and effort. And there's really no monetary return on it. Now, this is an area where I challenged him a bit. And I said, there's not an immediate ROI that you see. However, all of the work that I have been doing on the show over the years has been doing more work on me than I've been doing work on the show. And by that, I mean, if you go back and look at the episodes from 4 years ago, you can see the massive difference in production quality and my ability to effectively communicate and engage with people that I've never met. And that carries over into so many different areas of my life. And so, yes, it has been a significant amount of energy and effort that I have put into this over the years, but it has helped me grow and become a stronger version of myself. And I have started to curate and build this brand of consistently delivering. The next thing that I want to talk about is starting over. Now, many of you know that I spent almost 2 decades in IT before I jumped in and started leading human resources. And after spending 8 years in human resources, I had also started leading safety and transportation and starting an ESG function, about 2 or 3 years in each of those domains. Now, what's also interesting is it took me 15 years of being in IT before I branched out into human resources. Once I was able to successfully navigate through the waters of HR, about 3.5, 4 years go by, and then was given the opportunity to start leading safety and transportation and start an ESG function. There's shorter and shorter periods of time each time I jumped into a new domain. That is because I started to learn skills around ramping up more quickly and understanding where I needed to focus my energy and effort. Each time I jump into something new, how to wrap my head around it as quickly as possible so that myself and our teams can have this aggressive ramp. There are skills that can be learned to increase the speed at which you become proficient. And now I'm a day away from being 1 year in to starting my own business. Probably the most challenging jump that I've made in my entire life. And whenever I say starting over, I am legitimately starting over. In my professional career in corporate America, had achieved what most would consider pretty decent levels of success. And I thought, oh, wow, I've done all these great things. And whenever I went into starting my own business full time, it was a very humbling experience. And I've actually come to enjoy being humbled because it means there's another opportunity to learn and grow. And over time, the lessons that we learn, all of the information and knowledge that we gain and attain through this process makes us even more well-rounded so that we can walk into any room and have powerful and meaningful conversations. Don't be afraid of stepping in and doing something entirely new. Yes, I understand it's scary, but keep moving forward. The next thing I want to talk about is not letting your environment sway who you are. And we got on this topic because a lot of times he and I both interact with executives at other companies that might feel threatened in some form or fashion and try to control and dominate the situation and push you into doing things that you're not entirely comfortable doing or don't want to do. And it creates this sense of anxiety inside of us. It's because you're violating who you are at your core. You need to learn to stand firm in who you are, and the right people will be in your life. If somebody doesn't want to be in your life because you're not staying, because you are kind of doing some things that they don't like or don't want, that's okay. It's okay for us to disagree on certain things, and maybe they are not meant to be a part of this season of your life. And letting go is not always easy, but it is important for us to understand that we have to stay true to ourselves first and foremost. This next one's a bit of a tough one. People are going to stab you in the back. I shared a story of someone recently that I trusted, respected, and admired and have known for many, many years, and have spent a lot of time supporting this person, building them up, helping them, trying to help them grow. and got stabbed in the back. And it stung. And so I shared the example with him, and he just nodded his head, said, yep, that'll happen. When that happens, as painful as it is, you need to wish them the best and just keep moving on with your life. Yes, you can dwell on it. Yes, you can be hurt. Woe is me, all in my feelings. But it doesn't matter. You need to understand that not everybody has the same morals and values as you do. And while that's unfortunate, that is the reality of the world. People are focused on themselves more than anything else. And as long as there is alignment and people are moving in the same direction, that's great. But there will be a time when somebody stabs you in the back. And as much as it hurts, you have to make a mental note of it and then move on and let go. Also, make sure that you have some sort of controls in place to mitigate the risk of that happening in the future. Not easy conversations to have, but it is important for you to understand how to navigate through those conversations. And the big one. You know what? Before I get into this, it was interesting. About halfway through our lunch together, he just point blank asked me, so was there something that you needed or that I can help you with? Or like, where's your head at? Like, why are we here? Now, that piggybacks off of the question at the beginning or the conversation at the beginning where somebody called him up after almost a decade and said, hey, I need something. And I said, I don't need anything. I really just wanted to know that I'm on the right path, because he stepped out over a decade ago and started building his own consulting business and has done very well with it. And so he has lived what I am going through right now. And I think maybe he was of this mindset, like, am I going to ask him for customers or help or support or something like that? But really my question was around the lonely chapter. You see, when you start something new and big, you are going to have to grind, and it will absolutely crush you. The endless hours, the late nights, the lack of sleep, all of these things. You step away from something meaningful and great that you had accomplished into the abyss so that you can just eat glass for years, grinding and trying to figure things out because you took this bet on yourself. Hey, I'm going to do something even bigger and greater. Is it going to pay off? Oh, sometimes you don't know. When you are in this season of your life where you are just relentlessly grinding away, you're not going to have time for birthday parties. You're not going to have time to go out with friends and colleagues and family, because you are going to be singularly focused on your mission. It's not easy, but it takes time. And when you are singularly focused on that mission for a long enough period of time, you will be successful. But it is a lonely chapter because you've outgrown the people from your past, but you don't yet have the results to spend time around the people that you want to spend time with. So it is just this relentless push to make it to the next level. When you outgrow people, it sucks. You have to deal with, oh, well, Sean's too busy. He doesn't have time for me, Mr. Big Shot. Yeah, well, I'm focused on my mission. For any of you that are thinking about going off and starting your own business, you need to understand that while the Rocky cutscene only lasts for 60 seconds in the movies, it's 2, 3, 5 years of pushing yourself and stretching, pushing you to your absolute limit. But once you get there, it will be worth it. It's not easy. And for all of you that are listening that have started a business, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're not alone. You have to be intentional about finding people that are in a similar season of their lives so that you can bounce ideas off of one another, so you can share perspectives and share the wins and the losses and ask for guidance and feedback. You're not alone. You just have to figure out how to surround yourself with others that are at a similar point in their journey. I don't know how many lessons that was, 5, 6, something like that. And there's actually so many more that I have to take away from that conversation. But for the man that took time, not just yesterday, but over the past 15 years, thank you. For the rest of you, be that person, be that shining light for as many people as you possibly can. Oh, didn't expect this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is all I have for the show today. Thank you so much, and y'all have a good one.